Friends, welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the all-around kind of messed up fun you can't take your eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host here on a new Movie Monday, joined as always by friend, co-host, and thing you snuggle in the woods,
Alex Dandino.
That's right. All right, everyone. This is very exciting. New Movie Monday, little different this week. We are joined by Dandino because Heath, Sam, myself, we will be lost in the hidey hole. We will actually be out finishing segments for Mr. Cream Jean's hidey hole. So Alex and I are going to do a dive these next couple weeks into some low-budget, newer films that we thought we should shine some light on, right? So, again, please go to Indiegogo.com and find Mr. Cream Jean's hidey hole, right? You have to type it in or find it through Misfit Parade's myriad of social media because Indiegogo are cowards that have banned us for rubber dicks, shadow ban, which is fine. They'll still take the big dick money. They just don't want to spread it around, even though Zombie Sluts was on the homepage. We're not angry or jaded at all. But yes, you can please still help us support. We've been crushing our goals. We're moving. The more we can get, the better we can get this movie out to you guys. So all help is greatly appreciated. Find Mr. Cream Jeans on Indiegogo, MisfitParade.com, Misfit Parade on YouTube. We're on all the socials. Send a TikTok, a reel, a short, whatever the fuck they're called, to your friends. Let them know we're here. 5-star ratings and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Spotify has a weird thing where you can comment on episodes now. We are so easy to get a hold of. We would love to hear from you. And Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon, the best way to support the show. Alex and I have miniseries on Tales from the Crypt, Black Mirror. We're in talks about another possible miniseries joining the foray. We have a huge Patreon exclusive library you can vote on. We have commentaries. Yeah, we've got so much fun stuff. Maybe a toss salad and scramble pod, which I think Kevin Smith already did, but it's kind of Alex and I's love languages, Fraser. Yeah, I think he did. He stole our shit. No, he did it like 10 years ago.
What a bunch of hoi polloi.
Yeah, the hoi polloi. Still, neither here nor there. Speaking of people who would say hoi polloi, I'm assuming director Dean Puckett loves the phrase hoi polloi because we're here for Dean Puckett's first feature film, 2024's The Severed Son. So I found this while scrolling through these movies I thought would fit our vibe, right? What immediately caught my eye about this, you see a lot of the slashers, the big titty slasher. You see a lot of the haunted house. You see a lot of these movies that feel like the same thing, right? We make low-budget horror movies. There are only so many kind of stories you can really get into often at the low-budget level. This one immediately caught my eye. It felt a little different. It had this whiff of folk horror. I love any story that's set in kind of small, isolated religious communities. So this had a lot. Yeah, whiff. Sorry. Am I being a little too subtle? These are things I dislike when watching movies. I was like, oh, this one feels a little different. Let's check this out. Here is our synopsis. Magpie, who's a woman, not a bird, lives in an isolated church community ruled over by her father, the pastor. When a man is murdered, paranoia sets in, and people start to whisper about a strange beast that lives in the forest. Again, written and directed by Dean Puckett. Stars Toby Stevens, Emma Appleton, Barney Harris. Actually, yeah, the kid Barney Harris, is that it? He was in the new season, or no, Louis Gribben was in the new season of Black Mirror. He played young Peter Capaldi. So if you are on our Patreon, you heard us talk about that. All right, Alex. So I watched this movie initially. Tonally, very much something I'm into. I thought this film achieved a lot for the budget they were on, right? I thought it had some very strong performances. I liked the kind of, again, I don't even know if I would say the subtext of sexual repression bringing itself out in what is a bit of a letdown of a beast with bright fucking flashlight eyes. But overall, I think this is a great example of a small movie that's telling a story bigger than a lot of us would be brave enough to tell. I found this movie really well done and enjoyable. Enjoyable might be the wrong word for the kind of stuff, but I liked the movie, man. What did you think? Opening thoughts on The Severed Son.
I think that The Crucible is probably one of the most important pieces of writing in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And I think anything that is of its ilk either does a very good job of separating itself from it, or does a terrible job and basically just looks like a ripoff of The Crucible. I think The Severed Son actually does a very good job of sort of not being exactly like The Crucible. Because again, there's this tendency a lot of the time in writing where people basically read Arthur Miller and they're like, well, I could write that. And then they write it and they're like, oh, no, I can't. Arthur Miller's amazing. Never mind. It's like this whole, this is like my general theory of how this
everyone who just puts in a quote from Paradise Lost, and it's like, you never read that. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah,
you didn't read all of Paradise Lost. You just saw 7 like the rest of us and liked it.
Yeah. I think folk horror, obviously, The Witch did such a huge, number on this sort of little niche genre, you know?
I feel like that kind of, brought in this, new explosion of them, yeah.
Big time. It made it acceptable again for people to wear cool hairnets in public, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, that's fine." Petticoats were brought back for movies. Can I actually pause you here real quick? I want to add something to your point that kind of threw me in this movie, right? So I didn't really think of it as a analog to The Crucible, right? It is kind of this witch hunter hysteria, right? That just women blaming women, men blaming women for taking control of their own selves, right? The moment Magpie asserts any control over her own life, granted in an absolutely insane manner, you see the men come out with machetes and shit, and it's like, oh, fuck you up, you come near my family. Yeah. So it is very much like that, right? It's these younger women taking power through the specter of a supernatural something, right? Did it fucking throw you for a loop when we cut to B-roll of the hillside and there was a road and telephone poles with electric wires running? That fucking threw me off because I thought this was legit a period piece. And then all of a sudden we throw it back and it's kind of like an Amish German Baptist setup. They're just out in the woods still doing fundamentalist shit. I assumed pretty early on it was actually more of an Amish or the Village situation. See, what's interesting is So
I was fucking terrified it was going to try The Village because they kept saying that was before. Sure. I think they meant biblically before the flood and shit. I was so scared at the end it was going to be like, aha! This is like a simulation or a London cosplay. I was fucking terrified.
I was also super I was going to text you at 3 a.m. because I just could not sleep last night. And I was going to be like, you fucking let me down with this. I never wanted to watch The Village again, and I had to watch it. So, for that matter,
I'm actually so excited to wrestle The Village one more time.
I assume that these people just absconded from modern life because that happens.
Well, it's one of those things they don't address. It just pops in for a minute, and you're like,
and that's fine. Why? I actually don't mind that. I really didn't mind that because I guess because I assumed it, I was like, all right, well, it's obviously not an important part of the story, and I don't need to know anything about why they left.
There is a timeless quality to religious fanatics and repressing people based on gender and sexuality that will never be out of vogue.
If you want to go live on the moors in Cornwall and drink warm milk and be afraid of CGI monsters,
don't threaten me with a good time.
But yeah, so for me, there is this again, this is why The Severed Son does a good job of making it about. It's not The Crucible, but there is this soupçon of The Crucible. That works
there's
really
the young lady. There's the John Proctor parallel, even though in this one, John Proctor's an evil fucking charlatan. Yeah.
I really, again, and the performance, I love Toby Stephens when he shows up and stuff.
I feel like I hadn't seen him in anything in ages.
I swear to God, for probably 20 years, the only thing I remember seeing him in was Die Another Day.
Yeah.
As the English guy who used to be North Korean.
Well, yeah, he was the he was the face that the Korean villain chose to wear. So that's flattering.
he was the face that the North Korean guy chose to wear. You know,
I want to be a Brit ginger. It's like, well, all right. I mean, we have a whole menu here.
It's going to be tough.
Make it.
Life,
make it now. Cast the plaster now. It's like, all right, goddamn.
And he was also in that remake of Lost in Space, but he's really good in this. I really enjoyed watching him, and
he gives it a weight that it needs.
Yeah, he really does. Again, he has this. I think because of he's got such like striking features. He looks like he's just an extra from The Wicker Man that they brought in.
Speaking of striking
you were
features,
really good.
When he walks in, just tits out, and his back has like 5,000 freckles. I was just like, this is such a power dominance move. I was so drawn to it. Like it was a Jackson Pollock.
I gotta tell you,
I can't take my eyes off this guy.
My thought was, is Dean Puckett doing a Last Jedi? Is that what we're doing here? Because we're about to face forward and see this dude.
He's got to talk to this poor fucking closeted guy and just start sucking right from a teat. Yeah, I think the performances are good. I think one of the hardest things to do in kind of smaller budget filmmaking, especially early in your film career, is to find authenticity and a voice, right? Everyone can kind of film the scenes. You can put things together. I think this one really found a voice, right? And not just like had an important message. Like stylistically and tonally, this feels like a very unified piece. The fact that there is such control in these things, right? And again, I think that's the kind of stuff that's done so well that by the time you hit the monster, you're like, all right, whatever the monster looks like, I don't care because I'm so invested in this world, right? What's his name? The other kid, David, right? The one who seemingly, or John's the one who lives with the pastor, who's clearly a closeted guy who's in love with John, but he's supposed to marry Magpie. He's the character where you're like, man, they really didn't give him enough to do in this movie. And at the end, he gets a very sad ending. It gets a little crowded, but again, I think it's such a...
I'm okay with that.
But it's a unified tonality that I think was very impressive.
I don't have... This is a situation in these kinds of movies. Again, it's a first movie, so, you're just like... like the production value of shooting on the moors in Cornwall, especially... So this is one of... So this location is one of 5 granite moors that... And again, like, I'm like, just way to know your fucking geography. Like, this is an amazing location, and what a place to shoot.
Well, it's pretty sparse, but it looks great. And then you match it with good costumes, and you're fully transported. Again, until the fucking roads and telephone poles. But I was fully just washed away in it.
Sure. And again, I just... Even before the phones, even before the telephone poles, like, my thought was just, okay, these are people who just... They don't want to be involved with the rest of society, or something happened with British society that we're not privy to, that, they're just like, nah, we're going to go drink warm milk and be sorry that, God made us. The whole thing that was just like, again, religious repression is hard for me a lot of the time. I do think it's sort of one of those, this is like another thing, like the repression movies for me a lot of the time don't work. And it's not because they're bad. It's because it's so well worn. Like, the tread is so bare on those kinds of tires running through a story that I'm just like, yeah, I get it, man. Like, you get a boner and you freak out. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it's just,
been there.
This one at least, okay, the supernaturalism of the movie itself, because of, okay, again, low budget, because of the shitty CGI, and it's no knock on Dean Puckett and the gang. It feels like they only
CG'd the monster's eyes in like an occasional background.
Well,
it kind of has a Mothman quality to it.
I didn't understand why. I don't know how you felt about this. Again, I don't have a problem with the CGI. Again, when it's low budget, I don't have a problem with any of the CGI. I don't have CGI in general. I don't care. Like, fuck it. Use whatever's at your disposal. I guess for me, because of the nature of the movie, the jarring, like, it's so jarring when things are CGI that I'm like, why don't we just do this in camera maybe?
Well, because again, you can add the eyeballs later. But essentially, the monster here, this is kind of that A24 school, right? where the monster is a trauma or sin manifest. I think you get a lot of leeway to make that monster look like anything. And for example, the scene when the lady's recanting, she's like, I followed ye to the woods. I saw ya, snogging the monster in the moors, whatever. And we cut to this really lovely scene of her just laying in a field with this fucking monster. It's kind of like an old Swamp Thing poster, right? And she's just laying up against this thing, and it's just kind of black tendril type things and long fingers. It looks like a Spirit Halloween, like, generic costume. But it was fine because it's selling the idea that she's out there, kind of laying with the possibilities of what her freedom and womanhood could be. When you cut to something like, here, a very powerful scene, right? Is she lays into, because the movie starts with just the most baffling, she's, telling this whole fable about there was the sun or the moon and then the sun and their fucking infected offspring is hiding in the shadows, where I was like, all right, that's cool. And she's like, I'm just a lady waiting for my husband to come home and drink poison. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, is this like one of those, she's going to be doing a Fight Club in her head, like chatting it out? Oh no, she actually poisoned his ass. And then again, I'm assuming in this fucking off the grid village, there's not forensic experts or autopsies. I don't know why she's then like, what they'll buy more is if I lean him up against a tree and chop his own arm off. And she shows up at
cover
the
him in
church.
drink.
Yeah, she shows up at the church all bloody. And when the guy comes out, because they start all being like, she's fucking crazy, blah, blah. And she confronts this woman. She's like, what if we talk ill about those that are alive? We get this flash that woman's husband is a diddler, right? He's attacking his own daughter. She passes out in the field. So that guy hears about it, and he comes out in the woods, and he's like, do you think we're buying your story? That guy was sure-handed with an axe. And I was like, wait a second. Were we supposed to be under the illusion that this was a ruse, that anyone thought that you could cut your own arm off with an axe? It's such a stupid thing that's buried in the middle of this. But I was like, doesn't matter. Her dad's the pastor. I assume
in the
this
middle.
was just
No,
a
it's the
cover-up
inciting
thing.
incident.
Right,
It's not
but
even
I'm
the
saying
middle.
it
It's the
gets kind of
inciting
washed
incident
away.
in the movie.
There's like five things in this movie I had to wash away. Because one, I was like, so the pastor is hooking up with this guy who lives at his house. He wants to marry the daughter, right? And I was like, wait, is she having sex with her son? Is that a stepson? Is that an orphan? Wait, did she just cut her own husband's arm off and then pretend it was an accident? There's like a lot of moments like that in this movie. I was like, wait, what? But to get to the broader
it's
point,
very clear that Magpie is fucked up, and yet everybody the whole time is just like, yeah, she's fucked up. I'm like, yeah.
but
I think
again,
the lady
yes.
who's yelling about her might be right.
But I think what we're seeing is that everyone in this society is fucked up. The one dad is just drinking himself and diddling constantly. The other dad is, beating the hell out of the family, Magpie's family, right? All of these things, it's like there's this base level tone of kind of this, it's a patriarchy story too. Because her father's this pastor who's playing God but doesn't actually believe in any of the things he's saying. One of my favorite things the movie did is as it starts rolling, right? And he has this guy who lives with him. I keep mixing up John and David. They just have fucking, normal white people names. John. Yeah. So John feels like this like zealot true believer. He's really this closeted guy who's in love with David. David's in love with Magpie. Magpie has sex with him even though that's like her ward or her child. It's very strange. But when it starts to turn, you're like, okay, so he's going to go full zealot and become the like henchman for the pastor. He starts having visions of like the three of them in the woods, like him and John and Magpie in the woods, which were really cool, like getting blood and whatever rubbed on him. And as he starts to become more of a zealot, the pastor just unfurls. He's like, oh, this is great for us. Like, this is great. We'll let David out in the woods. We'll hunt him down, say the beast did it. We'll kill him. He's like, we can kill this beast right now. And the guy's like, you don't believe any of this? He's like, I believe this is a chance. I thought that was so cool because so many of these stories, they just settle on this. These are small-minded fundamentalist and supernatural shit bowls them over. Here we go. Yeah. The idea that this guy was a totally calculating monster. Like the scene when he looks at his own daughter being accused of sending this beast to kill this fucking rapist. And he is looking, that scene is so brilliant because it's him and then the wife of the diddler's also lying about how it happened. and the daughter's saying nothing. There's this beautiful moment in the middle of the movie where it's all these characters in this like Sergio Leone stare down. Like, wait, no one's telling the truth, right? We're all doing lies, right? And it's so brilliant. It works out so good because they're all just lying, but they know that for their lie to work, they have to not call the other one out. And I thought that was the adjustment that made this so much more engaging to me by the end than just the classic, it's a monster for rubes.
Yeah, I actually thought the monster thing at the end, it being a thing, was kind of a sort of just again, it was just sort of almost a non sequitur. Like, I was much more interested in the level of social engineering that was going on within the story. And because again, I go back to, I know I keep saying The Crucible, but again, The Crucible is sort of the godfather of all these kinds of stories for modern storytelling. I like this level. I like the level of social engineering, though, and that's what makes it like not The Crucible, is that this like witch hunt thing ends up being this advantageous moment for the character to say, oh, I can get people to do what I want if I have these kinds of things in place, these sort of chess pieces that I need to maintain order in this society that we've all decided is probably better than what I'm assuming is modern 21st century England outside their weird little moor. I think movies that do this kind of thing, it's such a hard needle to thread. Like
it is. This is a very hard kind of movie to force through, right?
And I don't think full core itself is a hard needle to thread. You know, like a couple of bonnets, a petticoat here and there, and an axe, and you can probably figure it out. I think what's interesting about this is that Dean Puckett writes a story about, again, he writes this story about social engineering, about the curse of dishonesty, about the curse of not being your authentic self, like all of these things that I think are
so that's what it is. It's the sin is there. Yes, the modernism thing. The sin is there no matter where you go, no matter where you hide. Even if you try to go off the grid into this folksy village on the moors, we still have all of those built-in problems. It's not supernatural. It's not religiously based. It's not the devil. It's us. It's a husband who hits his family. It's a husband who abuses his daughter.
I actually think when it becomes a supernatural, especially like at the end, like when she's covered in all black and stuff like that, I'm like, that's cool. But before that, like when the supernaturalism actually hits a little harder, I was a little bit like, I didn't need this. Actually, I gotta say, that it was just sort of this weird phantasm.
1000% the worst thing in the movie. And again, I think the way you can read it, because
which I'm fine with.
I don't think anyone actually sees the monster except for Magpie and the abused daughter. Because there's that horrifying, just shot brilliantly, of the dad like, do I not? And he opens the door to his daughter and you're like, Jesus Christ, we're not doing this, right? And as he sits on the bed, she sees the monster behind him. And again, I think this is kind of that A24 thing where it's like trauma monsters. But to me, this one actually leaves that window where you could see that maybe Magpie did come and kill this motherfucker, right? Because the villagers all come out and say she did it. We cut back to this scene where that dude's like got his pants down around his knees. He's on his, he's like kneeled over the bed and his guts are all fucking ripped out. Like an animal tore him up.
Right.
But you're like, it was dark. It was a flash. Could that have been an axe? Maybe. But there's that great scene where Magpie's in the jail and the father's like, what's come over you? And she just goes, it seems to have a taste for foul men. And I was like, yes, I love all that. Why couldn't it be, instead of this kind of supernatural breaking of reality, why not have it be a Patrick Bateman, did he not kill someone to Huey Lewis in the news? Like Magpie actually committing those two murders. Well, she did actually commit the first one. And even at the end, when her dad kills her, or he like bashes her in the head, because we watch her kill the zealot, and then the dad seemingly gets got by the demon and they're laying there face to face, right? And because before he was going to kill her, he's like, you know, you killed your mom on the way into this world. I hope you meet her in heaven. The demon fucking guts him and he's laying there. And she goes, where you're going, you won't see mom. but you will see me. Like, they're going to hell together. And I was like, fucking metal, let's go. Is that impossible that she got the jump on him and stabbed him with something? Like, does it have to be? Maybe this is the thing, is like a viewer, if I'm having to actively write things out of the movie that I don't want to be in there, that's not ideal.
Well, no, and I think, okay, it's actually kind of funny. So, in that same vein, when they march Magpie out to, like, shame her, essentially, with, like, the Game of Thrones bell and the whole fucking thing.
Dude, they're going to lynch her right there in the forest. Okay. In front of her stepson, who she's having sex with.
The words they said, like, we're going out to the quarry, and I was like, holy shit, they're going to stone this bitch to death. Oh my God, this is horrifying. Like, this movie,
this is the second one where they're, like, running her out of town.
And then it cuts to them at the quarry, and they're just throwing tomatoes at her. I was like, all right, not as cool as I thought it was going to be. But
I'm like, oh, this is my punishment? You're going to tie me up and have the JV fucking whip soft fruit at me? Deal.
Yeah, I was like, wait. Well, it was like, wait, we're going to the quarry where rocks are.
Hey,
and you
guys
not going to
my
throw
dad,
the rocks.
Yeah, my dad's a powerful, just figure, because I went from being fucking murdered by hanging to needing Tide Pods to clean my fucking gown. Like, what the hell?
Also,
and they're like, we'll leave her out here. That'll learn her. And you're like, what? What? Are there beasts on the moor that are going to eat her up? I don't know.
Well, also, what was this? Apparently it was quite the tomato season. I'm like, this is a small society. They're drinking warm milks.
Well, I was like, dude, you better be saving those. It's going to be a long winter, bitch. No,
yeah,
but
it's a long winter. What about the tomatoes?
Also, there's just like a basic, if you are a terrified, and again, I think this gets to the everyone knows they're lying bit, which I love. That's the best addition to the story. If you actually think that she is a sex demon and it's going out and killing people that its lover is angered by, maybe don't tie her up so the demon can come and she's
I wouldn't tie her up.
Yeah, munch me box and kill, Goody Farley. Like, what? Like, don't leave her out there. She can still send the fucking thing to kill you. That's fucking crazy. But again, we cut back to the barn and the dad's like, I've never seen him work harder. This worked out great for us. While his daughter's out there fucking chained up and presumably he's going to die of exposure. That's the stuff the movie does so well. That's where this movie does work, is when it's a father lying to his daughter, when it's a mother lying about her piece of shit husband to get revenge on a woman she doesn't like, who then goes to her abused daughter and says, he deserved it, didn't he? And the daughter holding back tear goes, yeah, he did. Right? It's all of that. And Magpie's the one person in the society who said, I'm not lying anymore. Like, I'm going to kill the person who's hurting me.
It's not okay to lie about what we're doing here.
Yeah, even the zealot kid who lives with the pastor and some very weird, uncomfortable questions aren't answered. Even he, till the very end, right? He knows that Magpie and this guy are fine, that they're victimized, right? Because if he goes out and you think because the whole time that David and John are talking, he has his hands behind his back. And you're like, because he's asking him about Magpie, you're like, he's going to whip out a blade and kill this kid right here because he's a henchman. Instead, his hands come out and he gives the kid a hug and he's like, it's good to see you. Like, I missed you. Because they're like great friends and he's in love with them.
I think this movie does such a good job of veering off the normal beaten path for modern folk horror.
Yes,
and it is really more just about
adjustments.
It's just about it's not about it's not like I'm trying to think about a movie that would doesn't matter. It's not about these two people banged and now they're trying to keep it a secret. This is about repression in a way. This is about repression in a way that isn't just, it's sexual repression, of course. What it is about is repressing the truth and honesty within society and how lies destroy everybody. It doesn't matter if they're if you have a group of 50 people who all live very close together and you lie about fucking everything all the time, it's quietly just going to corrode the entire society.
Yeah. And again,
lying is a corrosive substance in this movie.
Yes. Yes. What is the value of any society that we have to lie and hide so much to not rock the boat? And I think that, because, big society's hard to shift or turn or change, right? At a grand level. There's just too many people and too much money, and things are entrenched. What this is asking is, when we go out under this guise of we are the chosen people, blah, 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 and that shit's still there. That just exists in the heart of men, and even the woman who's just like definitely betraying her sister. That's the like, what is the value of this fucking bullshit experiment they're doing if everyone has to lie? Yeah. If he's gonna, the pastor's killing people to make them work harder, and Magpie's husbands and the other husbands are getting away with all that, what is the value of this society?
What I really value about this movie is how honesty is such a huge, what's nice is it validates how I behave in a movie theater with people, because I'm willing to tell people the truth. Like, you're talking, you're annoying everybody. Shut up. That's okay.
Shut up.
Next time you do that, I'm going to find some tendrilled monster to come and take you away. And then I'll never have to hear you talk or sing at the top of your lungs, defying gravity again. That happened in this winter. I took my mother to see Wicked, and somebody sang along. Not during a sing-along.
I think if you go to Wicked, you have to half assume.
Nope. No.
This is their moment.
That is wrong.
This is the theater kids moment. I think it's lame. Also, I'm just the audacity.
Either way.
To think that your voice is adding to the chorus of this legendary song.
That's what I'm saying is this isn't really adding anything to my experience. So to that end, I appreciate the Severed Son for pointing out that it's okay to tell the murder truth. People. Much better.
Yeah, it's okay that if someone lies to you, to put an axe in them.
The corrosive nature of not omitting lies and not telling your truth in society. Yes.
When you didn't get the role of Elizabeth in high school, and you go through bitter about it, you're now in the front of this AMC. Holding this 64-ounce soda is my chance to prove I was wrong. And you go, oh, and you go flat, and you think that you've won your shadowy beast who needs to be destroyed.
And then a shadowy tendril monster comes out and takes you away. And
and then
that's honesty, my friends.
Yeah, some sexually gratified Quaker comes out and her beast destroy you. I do love the idea that Magpie's just oh my God, I've had an orgasm. I'm ready to take on everyone in this society.
And then there's one man who stands in the back, slow clapping. And that'll be me saying, that's right. Honesty.
Yeah,
honesty is not
Proctor
corrosive.
Dandino. I done warned ye that Sen is a fertile field.
Sen is a fertile field. It shall not be tilled here, though. That is for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah, I honestly like this movie. This is a very kind of lunch pail attempt at this A24
it's also
thing.
Fast. Holy shit,
that's
it
what
goes
I mean.
fast.
Don't waste time. Get into it, man. And what I like about this
fast.
The trauma monster thing is kind of tiring to me at this point. It's become such a new cliche because it's been so successful in this new golden age of horror we're in, right? But I like to look at movies like this, right? Especially low budget. Take away the stuff, the monster is for the trailer. The kills are for the trailer, right? That's how you get me to stop and check it out. This movie does such a good job at the base acts of writing emotional character arcs and stories and interconnectivity of those character stories. That yes, the monster looks like a Spirit Halloween thing with two mag lights for eyes. It doesn't matter. The monster is inconsequential. The monster is a figment of our imagination to help us. It's a spoonful of sugar as we watch these horrifying traumas these people are going through, right? That's all it is. And this movie does such a good job at the base job of telling a visual story, which it really does. And again, I don't even know what the budget on this would be. I'm assuming pretty fucking low. And I think it overachieves.
I was honestly trying to find it. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. I like that they didn't just devolve to more monster, big ass titties, right? That'd be weird for this one. That was like when Sydney Sweeney was in Immaculate. It's well, it's a nun movie, but we cast Sydney Sweeney. We need giant tits in this. It's What kind of mixed signals are you fucking shooting my way, brother? This one, I think, this is a very steady hand, right, that Dean Puckett is showing in this movie. I was very impressed by this film.
It was really, again, I read a little bit about like how it, and he chose to not make this with a studio. He could have probably sold it, and he didn't. Like the development was real slow because he just wanted to make this on his own. So I'm assuming the budget was probably pretty low. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of production value and what you put into it, it's a fast story. And look, sort of not great CGI aside, which again, I just don't care about once the story is that good. Like to me, the story does such a nice job of like throwing you for like not huge loops. And again, I think the other problem too is with folk horror a lot of the time, they set up these huge expectations and never are able to pay them off. And I think, like you talked about it earlier, like these sort of looser threads that don't necessarily get resolved, or at least just get like sort of shunned, to use a parlance. It goes so much. It goes so much better over because it's not like this overarching thing of, oh well, we know everyone has a thing that they don't want to talk about, so let's just focus on the one thing that's literally killing people, and we'll go from there.
Let's knock that out, and then we can address. I
think it's actually a really interesting storytelling technique to be like, listen, everybody here is fucked up, but something is killing a lot of people, so I think we're just gonna that's the thread we're gonna pull at a little further, and that's fine. I like this movie. It does such a good job of what it tries to do.
Yes,
and yeah,
you hit a great point execution. Too. Fast. This feels like the kind of movie that a less, I don't know that's a rude way to say it, but a more egotistical director. This felt like a movie that would be like a 2.5 hour, really opulent, I have important shit to show you, and we would never have made it through the movie. They're just good decisions at every turn. Unlike The Villagers, this movie's making the good decisions at almost every turn. Alex, what's the most messed up moment in The Severed Son?
Okay, I don't know if it's the most messed up moment, but this is probably my favorite part, really. Was at the very end. So the pastor, it's Magpie and Toby Stevens. So the pastor gets ganked through the back by the CGI demon's hand. They're both laying on the ground, and Magpie is just like cold-blooded, and he was like, I'll see your mother's like, where you're going, you won't see mother, but I'll see you. I'm like, damn, dude, they're both going to hell. And she's like, fuck you, bitch, metal. You're coming with.
She's like covered in black blood, right? Like this weird, awesome. Or I don't even know if it's blood or ejaculate, whatever it is, right? It came from this demon.
I don't know.
And she's just covered in like motor oil. I'm guessing they might have motor oil. But yeah, she's sitting there and he's like, you killed your mom on the way into this world. You'll see her in heaven. And the demon fucking gets him and she's like, no, where you're going, you'll never see mother. But we'll be together. She's like, Leonidas, tonight we died in hell. Yeah, I was like that.
It was so good.
So like,
metal ending.
That was incredible. I have to say, if you're going to do an A24 style trauma as monster movie, this delivers that in a very visceral scene where a drunken father is sneaking up to his daughter's room. We know that the fathers and husbands in this town are doing all manner of vile things.
Not great.
That this dad is a predatory monster to this child, right? And as he sneaks in and sits on the bed and he ponders it, he even freezes at the door like, should I or shouldn't I? Of course he makes the bad choice. And he rises up like a monster to this child, right, that he has been abusing. And she looks past him and sees this big Spirit Halloween looking monster with maglite eyes, and that monster rips him up. And it's so fucking, and the way they cut back to the girl who's just frozen in tear on the bed as blood splatters her, probably this, oh my god, I'm safe from the monster, oh god, there's another monster ripping his guts out. We cut back to the next morning when the mom finds them and the dad is on his knees with his pants down around his knees. He's kneeled over the bed, his guts pouring out. And she's just like, it was my fault. I wished for something to kill him. And you're just like, holy shit.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is a we're gonna rub your face in the trauma monster scene, and that was very messed up.
It was very good.
That's it for The Severed Son. I think this is a really good movie. I hope more people find this movie. This is one of those I'll be happy to tell people, hey, if you're like us trying to make low-budget horror, this is one you should check out. This is a series of great choices that I enjoy very much. Guys, please go help us make our first feature film, Mr. Cream Jean's Hidey Hole, not as artistically laid out as this one, perhaps. You can find us on Indiegogo. You have to find us. Type in Mr. Cream Jeans on Indiegogo, because we are shadow banned, because we're not classy and we have rubber dicks. So that's fine. That's fine, Indiegogo. You want to play this game? Let's fucking play. You can also find the links through all of our Misfit Parade social medias. Go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon, the best way to support this show. Help us grow. We got tons of exclusive miniseries, all kinds of fun stuff. Subscribe to Misfit Parade on YouTube. Send a friend a link, a Spotify link, an Apple Podcast link, a YouTube link to any of our episodes. Let them know we out here. Send them a reel, a short, a TikTok, any of that stuff. We're going to grow this thing at a grassroots level.